Welcome everyone to Already Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Tara. We talk about TV shows here. The year is 2021 and the name of the show is Babylon 5. This is season 3, episode 13. It's called A Late Delivery from Avalon. So full spoilers for the episode as always, and we have to give you some bad news first. Get out of the way, because I know if I leave this till the end, half the people won't hear it. So I have to start with this. There'll be a week off. Next week, there'll be no review, right? We're taking a week off due to a thing that's going on. Tara's got a thing. Can't record for a week. Nothing to worry about. We'll be back the week after with episode 14. So everyone, we're letting you know, it's a planned week off. Don't panic. All right. I'm just picturing madness in the streets, chaos, looting, Molotov cocktails, all that sort of stuff.
All of our 9 fans will be so upset.
So, yes, I was ready to think this. I was ready to hate this episode. Honestly, there was a period early on in this episode where I thought I might end up hating it, and it kind of won me over in a number of ways. But I want to get a bias out of the way first. I do not really know the story of King Arthur. I do not know a lot of the characters that are referenced in this by the King Arthur persona, and I've never had much interest in finding out anything about King Arthur. It is a very English...
But you're from the land of Camelot.
It's a very English thing. In case you hadn't noticed, I'm not particularly English.
I have seen First Night, and King Arthur was a Scot.
First Night?
Yeah, Sean Connery.
Well,
First Night.
I'm not familiar with First Night, okay?
His first night was Richard Gere.
Sean Connery also played a goddamn Russian in The Hunt for Red October and played
it's a fantastic movie. Do not disparage that film.
And played the one non-Scottish character in Highlander. So I will not hear anything about Sean Connery being there as any kind of a testament to anything. Anyway, so right, I never heard the story of King Arthur, really. It wasn't taught in at least my Scottish school. Maybe other Scottish schools give a shit about it. I don't know, but mine didn't. So I've never really given a crap. So when the dude from Logan's Run shows up...
Logan,
yes.
Michael York.
Although when Tara messaged me saying Logan's Run is in this, I thought to myself, did she think that's his name? Did you think that was his name in the movie Logan Run?
We reviewed that movie. I think that would have come up.
Mr. Run is here. So he shows up and he thinks he's King Arthur, and there was some stuff where I'm like, oh, I don't know, I might not like some of that, because part of me
was getting some Grail flashbacks.
Yeah, a little bit of that, and part of me was worried as well that maybe there will be some depth to this, but you have to kind of understand maybe the references that are being made to the original story to like get some of the layers, and maybe there is some extra stuff there that I don't get. That's entirely possible. However, I like where it went ultimately. And I like interactions. It gave me Drunk Jacquard, which is glorious. We'll talk about that. It gave me a few other things that I really like, and dealt with PTSD. And I also do love that. Well, see, I very much wanted this to be a delusion, because I thought it would work much better if this was just something he believed and it's not real. But I do really appreciate that it was brought up that we do have an example of Vorlons having someone from Earth's history. And the Jack the Ripper character is mentioned, and it's discounted quite quickly by Franklin, who says, no, his speech patterns are all wrong, it doesn't make any sense. But I do like that was brought up as a possibility, like, at least in the thinking process, like, we should consider this option, and then if we can discount it, we can discount it. But so I appreciate
by Marcus
that.
Cole, who was not there for that event, but whatever. He does his research.
I assume,
he does seem to know everything.
I assume at these meetings they've been having, they've shared this story with the group, with the team. That makes sense to me. At least that's what this tells me here. So, but this is very much the A-plot of the episode, is this character who does have these dream sequences in black and white, where he's like going for the sword, going for Lancelot. No, is it Lancelot? No, Lancelot. Excalibur. It's Excalibur is the sword, not Lancelot. Can you tell I don't know anything about this? What's
The
Lancelot?
sword was named Lancelot.
Who's
Lancelot
Lancelot?
is the one. It's his first knight. First knight.
How many names does he have?
He's
There's
like
so
the
many.
young.
Look, they say like 50 names in this episode.
Well, I know there's Lancelot. There's the Green Knight, which is the movie I didn't see. Guinevere is his wife, his woman, his queen, and Lancelot and Guinevere have an affair. So there's like some betrayal. I don't know the rest of them.
Newman, Jerry, Elaine, Kramer. I feel like it
That's
took you
the Knights of the Square Diner Table.
I feel like it took you an extra second to get the joke I was making there. It's like you waited till the fourth name before it clicked in what joke I was making.
Yeah, it's odd that you start with Newman. I got there.
Just because, well, it's a pretty uncommon name, you know. Newman. And plus it's related to this episode because he was a crazy mailman, so don't start me, okay? That was a perfect reference.
I also do not know too much about Camelot. I didn't read any of the stories, or I'm not British, so I don't know. But I have seen some films. I've seen First Night, though it's been a long time. And I saw The Kid That Would Be King, which wasn't that long ago, with Andy Serkis's kid. It was all right. And of course, Sword in the Stone. So that's how I know who Merlin is. Oh, and I watched that Merlin miniseries with Sam Neill. I don't know if that's good, but I really liked it when it came out.
The only King Arthur thing I have seen was the movie called King Arthur with Clive Owen. I suspect that wasn't that.
Oh,
like
I did see that.
The classic story. That could be.
And
wrong,
I saw
though.
the Guy Ritchie one. I still don't really know the story. I've seen like 5 versions of King Arthur, I guess. I actually kind of like the Guy Ritchie one. It's all right.
Good for you. I'm not watching it. And not just because I'm disinterested in King Arthur, but also because I don't really like Guy Ritchie movies. So it's a 1-2 punch for me in that one.
Well, I guess you don't like style in your cinema. Whatever.
I like good style. I don't like Guy Ritchie style. Screw his Sherlock Holmes
I like
movies.
Guy Ritchie.
The trash. Anyway, so
I also did not like this episode very much.
well, that's relevant. That's relevant. Yes. No, I thought it got better as it went. I thought it went places with the story.
You like that that famous tale of PTSD causing people to want to LARP?
Like that Tom Hanks movie, Mazes and Monsters. It's a far out game.
No, no.
It's just a game, though, is it? For people who get those references, they're loving these references to Mazes and Monsters, but that's only 2 of you probably. Everyone else is like, what the hell's Pierre talking about?
Everyone else is like, stick to Tara's First Night references, okay?
I've never even heard of that movie, okay? I'm just going to be honest.
I can't believe that.
So yeah, so the things that kind of worked for me in this as it went, there was some goofy elements, you know, when he escapes from Med Bay and he goes off to like be a hero of the people, and there's some like thugs stealing stuff from all the poor people in the lower decks. He rescues some women's photo frame, but naturally, what made this more enjoyable was the fact that Jacquard, who's down there doing other things, witnesses some of this, and then when more gang members show up to take on, or, you know, King Arthur, Jacquard jumps down and says he's got friends too, and he looks so excited to fight side by side with this dude. I was so into everything with Jacquard. I'm, you know what, sitting as Jacquard is gone. Sir Jacquard reigns supreme. He's now Sir Jacquard.
He's the first knight.
Stop saying first night. Stop it right there.
Fine.
So I thought that was enjoyable, just as a sort of fun character beat.
I liked the actual sword fight. I thought the choreography was good. It's probably the same guy who did the one for Cole in the earlier episodes.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
But I think they've been pretty good.
I think I also generally like this trend of like some of these characters who come on the ship or the station who or basically find some peace or find like direction and that kind of thing. Like it's kind of the point of the station in a lot of ways, and this is like a microcosm of it. So I kind of appreciate that, and that Jacquard's like sending him off with Narn squads for his like his experience and knowledge to be used. But the actual core thing with the character though is that he was a gunner on the first ship that ever interacted with. He was a gunner on the first ship that ever interacted with Minbari, and the story he tells Jacquard, which is all under the guise of knights and all that crap, that's actually just
were on fire.
Can I finish a goddamn sentence without some stupid reference to some shitty movie, please?
No, he says the horses were on fire.
I didn't hear what you said properly, to be honest. I just assumed it was another Sean Connery reference. All right. So, and it basically Franklin's like, I'm going to confront him with this, I'm going to help him, and Cole's like, no, give him peace, let him just think he's King Arthur. And I was on Franklin's side with this. This is actually one of these more interesting moral debates, as I'm like, no, like especially since from our context, we're seeing that he's having these nightmares, like he's being plagued with whatever memory is causing this trauma that has put him in this place. Like he is being plagued by it on a nightly basis. Like this is something that needs to be dealt with. So Franklin confronts him with his real name, who he is, and the history that he was on a ship and he was kind of ordered to fire one of the first shots that led to Ducat's death, which led to the war. It was all a misunderstanding. It was all something, Franklin even says, like, Minbari ships open their gun ports or whatever as a sign of respect, and it was misread and led to all of this happening. And he can't handle that, and he basically goes catatonic. He can't accept that that's what this is. And there's a moment afterwards where I'm like, see if Cole walks in here and gives him "I told you so." I'm like, no, I'm still on Franklin's side. I don't care that this has put him in this place. I still agree with Franklin. Like, this is still something he has to deal with. Yeah. But here's what I think the episode did quite smartly, though. I think, because so many of these episodes will just have characters not be there for a whole episode and it's normal, I think this episode used that to its advantage by not showing us Delenn the entire episode. So at the moment where they realise that Delenn's the one person who can give him forgiveness and can be his lady in the lake, that moment where they look at each other and you're thinking, it has to be Delenn, and then it cuts to the shot of like Delenn walking into the room and the way it reveals her, because we've not seen her all episode, it had this extra kind of like, they intentionally did not show her at all in this episode so that this would feel like a big deal. And she doesn't even have a line of dialogue. She just walks over, she puts her hand on his, he gives her the sword, and it's it's kind of like this moment for him. I thought that this part of it was kind of sweet and was kind of a nice sentiment, and this idea that Delenn could give him this forgiveness that would finally give him peace for like his role that he played, even though he was following orders. Like Franklin points out, it wasn't his fault. He was just doing what he was told. But I thought that side of it was interesting. It particularly, I had some goofy fun with the Jacquard stuff and like Jacquard being drunk and being all proud that he's been knighted and shit like that. But it was when it started cutting quickly, when Franklin was confronting him to like the black and white, like he's screaming in his head, like he's screaming in pain, and it's like cutting between like Franklin like telling him the truth and him like freaking out in his head. I thought that actually started to feel quite intense, and I thought, okay, this is actually starting to kind of hit some real notes for me where I'm kind of feeling the point of it, because some of the King Arthur stuff was a little bit like, you know what, GMS, he's a total nerd, he likes Lord of the Rings, he likes some other things that I don't care about, and that's fine, but this is just one particular thing that I don't give a shit about King Arthur, so I didn't like find any novelty in him doing a King Arthur impression or referencing other characters. Or
plus they had to they had to bring up in their little meeting, King Arthur like doesn't actually exist. He might have been based loosely on somebody who existed. So like, how do you bring that into the show? I'm
not going to do this.
It's supposed to be very grounded.
I can't be arsed doing my editing here to do this, but I would like to just pretend that we're flashing back to the episode with Jack the Ripper where you suggested that Sherlock Holmes might pop up, who was definitely a completely fictional character. But I just point out,
I'm sure he was based off somebody.
Oh, was he? Yes.
Maybe Jack the Ripper.
What?
I don't know. The only two British things I know. Oh, and Doctor Who.
And King Arthur, apparently. And what?
Doctor Who the hell cares?
Okay, very very good. I don't
That's
really like
not my
Doctor Who
joke.
that much.
That's a Mystery Science Theater joke.
I, I mean, I don't hate Doctor Who, but I don't have any particular love for it either. It's just kind of
I don't know. I had friends who were just like, "You'll love it, watch it," and gave me a season with the guy who wore a trench coat, like a leathery trench coat, the whole time. And Rose was his.
Yes, Christopher
girl.
Eccleston. Yes.
Yeah, I think he was a Marvel villain. And did not enjoy that season.
Fair.
Maybe if I was a kid and I watched it, I would have liked it, but watching it as an adult was pretty hard.
That's fair. So, yeah, I thought the back half of the story was a lot better than the first half of it, and kind of picked up for me quite a bit. I was expecting to be kind of down on this from like some of the earlier King Arthur stuff. Luckily, it kind of went to the right places. Now, admittedly, overall, it's probably still a bit more of a lower key episode because it doesn't, it's not through and through. But you clearly had a much harder time with it than I did.
I thought everything was just a little too hammy.
Okay.
Even the Jakar stuff, I thought was a little hammy. Like, he was pretty willing to throw himself into a fight where a guy was just dressed in chainmail and a sword. I like the idea, that he sees that the guy is fighting the bullies, and Jakar says, "I like being in a battle where there's very clearly a good versus evil."
That was the part that
I'm on the right side.
Yeah, that was the part that I thought had added it some weight, is that when he's talking about it afterwards.
When he jumps in and he does the... you can't help but laugh at it.
I think when he's talking about it afterwards and he talks about that, he says that... the exact phrase before he says, we were the good guys and they were the bad guys, he says it's nice to be in a fight that has no moral ambiguity, and I kind of like the appeal of that to him, given everything that this show has been doing with him and Londo and their conflict since the start.
Yeah, but it seems a little odd. I mean, that I thought he was a pacifist now.
No, he's still fighting, he's still building a resistance. He's not a pacifist. They never said that.
I mean, they sort of implied it, that he was going to be like the new Gandhi.
No, no, I never got that at all.
I thought I picked up on that. Okay.
I never got pacifist. I think you're adding this to that.
Well, he said sacrifice and all that. When he was talking about sacrifice with the guy with the sword that must draw blood before it can be sheathed. Okay. Well, I still didn't really enjoy it.
I mean, that's fair, but I mean, I just, like, I don't think they never, I think, said, like, he was a pacifist now who would not fight. Like, he's still a fighter. He's still building a resistance. He's still doing all these things. This didn't seem, like, obviously it was a fun, not out of character, but it was a fun sort of, like, oh, he's been tempted into this. Because he hears enough of the conflict to, like, hear what that these are the bullies, this is the good guy. Enough to know that he's not just jumping in and fighting on the wrong side of something. And then like the context is kind of like built up for him afterwards, but
I still didn't really enjoy it very much. I wish I did, but maybe on a rewatch.
I mean, given how I felt,
I thought it was all kind of hammy. Like, even the dialogue from pretty much everybody, and especially Cole. I really don't like Cole very much at all. Like, he shows up in this episode and he's still just like, he gets on one knee and gets on both knees, I guess, and talks to Arthur like he is the king and stuff. And I don't know, like, that. It seems like he's in the wrong show. Like, he should be on a Camelot stage somewhere, acting.
Well, I think you called him a theater kid. That was your first diagnosis of him. I can't argue much, because ultimately I kind of felt like I wasn't going to like it that much. I think it went places for me by the back half, where I can kind of see what they were doing and appreciated what they were saying and what they were doing with the character. And there was some fun moments with some of the other characters, and I kind of like that Cole and Franklin's like friendship, which was kind of formed a while ago, is still kind of there and still being developed, and it's like an ongoing thing. I appreciate those sort of long-term blocks that are just kind of still in place and being solidified. I can get on board with that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you didn't like it. That's fine.
Not really.
It's not like I'm going to argue it's one of the better episodes of the season. It's far from it. It's probably still one of the weakest, but I'm just saying that even in this, I could still recognize what it was going for, and like some of it I think did kind of hit by the end, but obviously it was a flawed journey.
I think that you will watch Deep Space Nine and watch the episode Duet at the end of the first season and go, oh, that is this done exceptionally well.
Maybe
there's no King
right.
Arthur, but
well, that's
there are
a
lot of
plus
parallels.
That's a plus for me, though. You say that. Like, I don't like King Arthur, though. That's a plus.
Yeah, I'm just letting you know, like, there's a lot of parallels, but it's not a King Arthur parallel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We had some other plots, though, this episode. We had a B and a C plot. B plot is kind of important in a low-key way, which is the signing of a new treaty for the station to kind of solidify it as what it is for like all of the various races, and getting a lot of the other races to agree to like help defend the station as a neutral ground, and they kind of just succeed. It's not much to it. There's not a lot of Sheridan and Ivanova in this episode. We just see them a couple of times sort of planning this, and then having a meeting with some of the aliens, and then they say it's okay and it's done. There's not much to it. It's just kind of, plod, done, right? That's just that simple. But as a detail just for going forward, it makes sense that this is just established and there's just not much of a story to it, and that's okay. The C plot, I get a lot more enjoyment out of, which is Garibaldi arguing with the mailman.
Garibaldi's trying to get his cheese.
And it's not that it's an important plot, and it's not that, I mean, it's kind of neat, I guess, for them to address like the mail situation now that they're kind of independent from Earth, but it's not that big of it. Like if they'd never done this, I would never have been asking questions about it. But I think I just enjoyed the banter between them in their first scene more than anything else, and how gleeful this guy was at being a prick to Garibaldi. But the bit actors on this show tend to be a little rough, and I thought this guy was actually very good in this role. I'm not saying give him a spin-off, I'm just saying in this role where he was gleefully denying Garibaldi his package unless he paid the fee was entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
And the way he tricked Garibaldi into taking his hands off of it by like saying, oh, how big's the salami you've got? And he's like, oh, it's this big, and then he just walks away with it. I thought that was quite funny.
Pepperoni.
Oh, pepperoni, sorry.
Yeah, it was fun. It was moments
it's not
of levity.
important. I'm just saying it was a fun little bit.
I agree. I mean, the guy was decent at the role. He was fun. Yeah.
Pardon me for finding joy. Finding joy.
Well, I mean, it's good to know how since they are cut off from Earth and the post office is like a government branch, then how are they getting the mail? And the guy's like basically saying he's taking back channels to do it, and that's a consequence of that is that the prices go up. And it seems a little bit personal for Garibaldi, maybe because he is a high-ranking officer, that they would look, this is your fault that I have to do all this, so it's more expensive for you.
I also get a minor chuckle out of, so there's a scene in the middle where Garibaldi's like breaking in at night to take it and like leave the money that was the previous price because he feels like he's been conned by being charged 100, and his like partner in crime here, one of his security chiefs or security guards, is like, because Garibaldi's like, man, we get into a war with Earth and all this and blah blah, we cut ourselves off from Earth Defense Force, blah blah blah, and the guy's like, yeah, but this is the post office. Like the way he sold the post office has been scary.
Well, I mean, he wants to get his mail too. He doesn't want to get caught.
It was funny to me that he was selling fighting the post office is more scary than.
I can tell you, as somebody who has served in the military and overseas, the mail person and the cook you want to be your best friends, but most importantly, mail. Getting something from home is like brings like higher morale than getting a letter from home or a package or something that you're waiting for.
Okay. I thought it was an amusing scene. There's not much to it. It's just a fun C plot. Like, that's all it is. It's not important. I mean, maybe it'll become important. Maybe this male guy will become the linchpin of like.
Maybe he'll go postal.
Become the entire like. Oh, they're going to like filter secrets through the mail, and this guy's going to be there to like funnel it all and oversee all the secret messages. I don't know, but I suspect this was just a bit of fun to round out the episode.
I don't know. I wouldn't put it past JMS to bring him back.
I mean, he likes to bring things back. There's no denying that.
Especially if he likes you.
Don't think I didn't notice as well the ship that our King Arthur came in on was called the Eismanov. I don't think that escaped me.
The Eismanov?
Eismanov, yeah. Isaac Eismanov. You never heard that name?
Oh, Asimov.
Asimov. Whatever you pronounce it. What did I say?
I missed it. I thought it looked like a tennis ball.
What did I say?
Eismanov?
Asmanov.
I think it's just your accent.
Okay. Asmanov. Okay, it's a little bit different. Anyway, it wasn't like on the ship. Like, they say it in dialogue. Like Franklin says it when he's talking about him. And I thought,
missed it.
I was like, I see the nerd name drop, the sci-fi nerd name drop. Don't think I don't. All right, okay. This is one of the shortest ones of these we've done in a long ass time.
Sorry, you gotta wait another couple weeks.
Maybe it's just because there's less to it. Maybe it's because Tara hates it. I don't know, but
I wouldn't say I hate it. I just didn't really enjoy it that much.
Yeah. I mean, it's better than Grail and TKO, right? Like
I'd say it's like pretty close to there, though.
Okay. I thought
we were getting the worst episode. I thought we were getting the Grade 17 is missing. That's what I was expecting.
I never said that was next. I said that was later in the season. That's okay. That's how. We
had that whole conversation, so in my mind, that was the next episode.
No, that's just down the list. I think there's some biggies to come before that. I think, but yeah. So that's coming later. Although the comments assure us that the B plot is worthwhile.
I saw that.
They assure us that the B plot is going to be good.
Maybe Sheridan and Delenn kiss.
Wouldn't it be funny if that happened in what's otherwise known as one of the worst episodes of the entire show? As you get your big romantic Delenn and Sheridan kiss.
Yeah, you're right. That's impossible. The moment that happens, it immediately becomes the top episode, best of all time.
Yes.
Well, I mean, second best.
Yes, other than Mr. What was his name?
Lord
in the show?
Kiro.
Kiro, thank you. Yes, Mr. Kiro. Yes. I should have said Mr. Graham. I know his real name. Let's not worry about it. No. But that was a fine episode. It was definitely more of a season 1-esque episode, but I thought it was like another. It almost felt like it was intentionally trying to be a callback to those episodes there that were sort of in the heat of like much darker times, to like have like a season 1-esque kind of like visitor on the station episode. Because remember back in season 1, like every episode was a visitors on the station, and that was like a lot of the episodes. That was actually kind of almost like a nostalgia thing to go back to season 1 and say, hey, remember this? Between big dark episodes where Veer's rescuing Narn slaves and stuff, and whatever's coming next, because who knows what's next. But yeah, I didn't hate it, but I do have a bias against I think King Arthur. The sound of that story, even whenever I hear it, I hear lots of like very British words, and it puts me to sleep.
It's too English.
Yes. So I'm trying to think if I know any Scottish people who actually give a shit about King Arthur. I don't think I've ever met a Scottish person who cares about King Arthur. I don't think it's something that translates throughout the UK. I think it's very much an English myth and like thing that they love to talk about and tell stories of.
Well, Camelot was in England somewhere, right? Ancient England.
I'll be honest, I don't even know if Camelot was a real place. That could be a fictional place for
I
the
assume
story.
So, but like based on somewhere in England.
I know very little.
I guess
about
I don't
this.
know.
I know very little about this. Do you know that? I know that a lot of Americans are going to assume that I'm going to know about King Arthur because I'm technically from the same island, but it doesn't work that way.
Do you know about what kind of tales do you guys? Is Beowulf from you guys, or is that German or something?
Yeah, it's not. It's definitely not Scottish.
No, it's like Viking, I guess. Huh?
We have Loch Ness. That's what we.
Oh, okay. You guys got a monster.
We got a monster. Just like Canada has the Ogopogo, which I only know because you told me about it. As like,
because that's where I'm from. I'm from that area.
Yes, but even Canada's Loch Ness sounds really silly and Canadian.
Ogopogo?
Ogopogo? It's a silly word.
It's a palindrome. It's the same forward as it is backward.
But yes, but not all palindromes sound silly. It's a silly word.
It's not. It actually has the ability to make people go crazy and see things that aren't really there. So it's kind of like magic also.
What, the monster or the word?
The monster.
Okay.
The word. It's got a little bit of a Cthulhu thing, making people go mad when they see it.
All right.
Yeah.
Bit more mythology to it than perhaps Nessie has. What can I say? But
Nessie's just what, a dinosaur or something?
Something like that. There's not really much to the Nessie story. It's just there's a monster in the lake.
The fishermen just had to blame something when they couldn't come home with anything.
It's just, you know what? It's just
Loch Ness was hungry.
Like you got to milk the tourists of the money somewhere. Okay, you sell them a plushie of what Nessie might look like.
Yeah.
Charge them a fortune to like stay in a little hotel next to the loch, and have a day of it.
Yeah, that sounds kind of fun, actually. I remember being a little kid going to school on the bus, and like some kid would be like, I see it, I see the Ogopogo, and we would all just press our noses to the glass to see if we could see it too. But I don't think it's actually there. I think it might be a myth or something. I never saw it, is what I'm trying to say.
I suspect it is a myth, yes.
I saw a couple grizzly bears. That was kind of cool.
No one doubts the existence of grizzly bears, though. That's not up for debate. All right, this is definitely over. Okay, you got like 3 extra minutes of nonsense at the end of this because it was a short one. So thank you very much for joining us. So remember, we will be taking a week off next week. We'll be back the following week. So do not panic, but we'll be back
with a better episode, I hope.
So remember to like, subscribe, comment, ding the bell for notifications. All those things do help on YouTube. And of course, I will thank our Patreon producers of Tyler Hess, Cindy Palacios. Wait, I don't do that on this usually, do I? No, I do that in the movie podcast. Oh well, you know what? They get a thanks. Thank you to Tyler Hess, Cindy Palacios, David Short, Borden, Al Tradesman, Christopher Moy, David Brown, and Stanley. They are all upper tier patrons. So thank you very much to our producers. Tara, why don't you tell them all about Patreon?
Yes, if you enjoy.
Yes, I phrased that in a way you couldn't say that straight, Peter. Yes, amazing.
Why is this an accomplishment for you? That's right, Peter.
I do it intentionally.
If you enjoy our reviews, please check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/MildFuzzTV. And if you donate as low as $1 per month, you'll get access to bonus episodes for other shows we do. And if you donate $5 per month, you'll get access to this show, these reviews, 6 days early. Yes. And some other shows you get a day early. So please check that out. Thank you.
Yes. So
screw you, Peter.
Whoa. What was that for?
Because you're always trying to mess me up.
Just try to keep you on your toes. That's all. So yeah. And yes, so if you're...
He's been in the back all hidden away for a while.
And look at this,
make him up front.
If you're a patron and you get these early, then when the public get this one, you'll be getting... No, that doesn't make sense. You're getting it like earlier than the public, okay? Like they'll be having a week off when you have an episode, so you can feel all superior for a week. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us. We also appreciate it. Keep watching Babylon 5. Just don't give away the home world.